We have fairly large get-togethers at our home at least a couple times a month, and sometimes more. And I would say when there's not many people here, maybe the smallest group we have would be about 8 or 9 people. And then the largest gets up to, I don't know, when we have a crowd, we're pushing 50 people. So this has been a blessing to have this big shelter. We want it to extend into some cold weather. So I'm gonna start putting some plastic. You can see I've started putting some tracks on here. I'm gonna put on the plastic the same way I would on the greenhouse, using these tracks and what they call wiggle wire. You can imagine why they call it wiggle wire. It's got a wiggly shape to it. If you think that this is going to work for you on someplace at your house, closing in your patio or something like that for the winter, if you look up wiggle wire on Amazon, then you'll be able to find the wiggle wire and the tracks. So wiggle wire fits into. So this is the track, and you'll see how it goes. My tracks came with these self-tapping screws. And actually, they're even waterproof. They have a little seal on them. But these screws are so short. Going into wood, I just don't trust how strong that's going to be. So I'm just drilling my own holes, and I'm just using my own screws. I don't need it to be waterproof. So I'm just using regular deck screws, drilling my own holes. You get the idea. I'm going to have a track here, and I'm going to put another one here so that I can close in this section, and a separate one to close in this section. It's starting to get dark. I've been putting up track. I got some track here, all across here. I got the whole next section done and ready for plastic. I've got my plastic laid out on the floor. I've started measuring so I can cut out the pieces I need. Over here, I had mapped out, well, my paper's gone. There it is. I mapped out the cuts I need out of my sheet. Okay, I got it up. It's pretty nice and tight. You can see the wrinkles aren't perfect, but it's nice. And now I'll show you that I had already done 2 panels on this side. But I had done those before I ever started doing a video, and I just didn't want to show them yet because I wanted to show from the beginning. Well, here's one of those things that I just spontaneously decided to do. These tools have been sitting around for a long time waiting for me to do this cutout. And I love having tools sitting down in these little recessed cutouts. Helps keep them organized. So I just saw them today and suddenly decided I'm going to take 15 to 30 minutes or whatever and make one of these. It's so easy. This is just packing material that came with the package. And what I like about it is it has layers. So when you cut it out, you can just pull out however many layers you want. Something, that you don't want very deep, maybe just pull out 2 layers. Something that you want deeper, you might pull out 3 layers. So I just cut it all the way down, deep into the layers, so that, if I change my mind and I want to pull out one more layer, it's already cut. Just gonna put it down in the drawer. There we go. I love it. Now I can tell if somebody borrowed a tool. So So now I've got that one, this one, not this one. Yeah, I've got some that just have a few tools sitting in them that need to be, that'd be a good one to put on maybe this drawer. Big drawer. I took this set, took the hinges off, the hinge pins, took them out, and just set them in here, and they fit really nice. But I could also put the hinges back on, and I can use this as a carrying case. I like these. So if you get a Craftsman tool set like this, normally it's in a red case, but these are the black chrome instead of the just regular silver. And so they come in the gray case. The people at Lowe's didn't even realize that. I was asking them, hey, where are those black chrome tools? I really like the color of those. And they said, I don't think we have those. And I said, I've already bought some before. I know you've got them. And then I noticed they had the new gray case. So if you're looking for tools, hey, if you're looking for Craftsman, the hand tools are very nice. You know, I mean, how can you go wrong with stuff like that? You know, any brand is going to be good. But Craftsman makes decent tools like this. But if you're going to get anything that's powered, anything that has an electric motor in it, a gas-powered motor, I would recommend getting another brand. I would stay away from Craftsman. I have returned so many Craftsman tools. I've returned a chainsaw, a shop vac, and some other things I don't even remember, but they're just not made well. On the other hand, the hand tools, they still have the deal they had 100 years ago. If you break a tool, bring it back, they'll give you a new one. I think they had that 100 years ago. Were they around? Yeah, Sears was around 100 years ago. Ever had a neighbor give you a deer? A friend of ours that lives down the street asked me the other day, hey, if I shoot a deer, would you like to have him? I'll bring him to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I don't know if I'd have time to do anything with it. I've never processed a deer or anything bigger than a large turkey. So then another time I saw him going across the street here to do some hunting. He said, hey, if I shoot something, I could bring it to you. And I was like, oh no, I'm so busy. And then I was telling Cindy about it, and she said, well, don't tell him no, because, you know, if he's going to offer, then that would be all that meat. We don't, you know, we could just say that not right now because we're so busy. But today he pulled up in his truck with a deer and gave it to us anyway. Fortunately, the weather is cool enough that I'm going to be able to just leave it hanging tonight. And tomorrow, I think Rico's going to help me. And we're going to work on processing this deer and putting it in our freezers. We'll just split it 50-50. I mean, I don't need a whole entire deer, but it is good to have free meat, you know. I mean, this is going to be, our sheep give us maybe 25 pounds of meat. This is going to give us more than that. Well, depending on how good we are at getting it done. But yeah, this is bigger than our sheep have been so far. Here's the picnic shelter project so far. I got this side done. Only the end hasn't been done yet. I've got my tracks on there, so I'm ready. Well, I got a little bit left to do at the top there. But I've got my tracks for up here. Oh, I got one right there I need to put in. I've got barely enough track so that I can get this piece put in and that piece put in. But before I close myself in, I really need to start thinking about a door. I think somewhere right here, I need to maybe put in a slit, put a piece on the back so you can slide through without it just standing open all the time. So it's been a blessing we've had all this cold weather. We've been able to keep the deer hanging long enough to get around to it after getting chores and things done. And so now I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna piddle around with this. I've never done this before, but I'm just gonna go ahead and sort of get started on it and see what I can do. I grabbed a few things. One is my coffee latte that I make for myself. glasses. But this, what is this pronounced? Jaeger pack. I had bought this a while back. You can see I've never used it yet. And so I've got a skinning knife. And this is a knife I can use to pretty much process the whole deer, from what I've seen from the bearded butcher guys that are on YouTube. So if you want to know anything about butchering any animal, watch their videos. I just watched a couple of them last night trying to learn some stuff. Got a bone saw and some rib spreaders. So I'm gonna be kind of learning as I go, and also a knife sharpener. Okay, Rico will be here in a few minutes, and we're gonna process this deer. I got it all skinned, and I set out a couple tables here to help us just have a really easygoing, nice place to process. This is a little trick that we learned, to take some PVC and put it under the table legs to make your table higher. This is really good for chicken processing to keep you from wearing your back out. I know we're gonna do, later this week, we're gonna do almost 100 chickens. We have 3 families, so there'll be at least 6 adults. So what is that? 16 or 17 chickens each. I probably won't be filming any of the butchering, but after we're done, maybe I'll hopefully get a view of at least what our half of the meat will be, just to give you an idea of how much meat we get from this animal. This is a very large deer. Well, I just finished the whole exterior of closing this in. I do have one hole on the opposite end up here needs to be closed in. But this is what it looks like. The transparency is pretty good, especially from the inside. And it looks fairly nice and neat, not a terrible mess. The doorway needs a little more work. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. Thinking I might put a stake in the ground and a piece of wood going up to here, just to sort of mark the doorway more defined. This is kind of like a job site where we're gonna walk through the plastic instead of putting in like a screen door. I don't want to put in a framed door if I don't have to. It's pretty good. It absolutely keeps the wind out, and the sunshine kind of warms the room up a little bit. I wish I had more plastic to stretch down a little lower on this end, a couple spots like here, so the air wouldn't move quite as freely through there. I like it better when it's draped down onto the concrete more. This is the hole that I'm talking about. I need to close this up so our heat doesn't all just flow right out the top. We have a, ridge vent, so we're not gonna have to worry so much about carbon monoxide. These vents are open on the sides all the way down. If we're losing too much through the roof and through these gaps, then I can take some little blocks of wood and close in a lot of these and just kind of decide how much air we want to be flowing. But I do have a carbon monoxide detector, a battery operated one, just in case, because we're gonna be running these heaters in here. But I think we're gonna get plenty of airflow.